Konrad Curze, or as he was more infamously known, the Night Haunter, was the Primarch of the 8th Legion of the Legiones Astartes, the Night Lords. Of all the Primarchs, Curze was considered to be one of the cruelest, most sadistic, and mentally unstable, despite having a strong inherent sense of justice. Curze grew to maturation upon the crime-ridden world of Eternal Night known as Nostramo, where he would become a terrifying and deeply feared vigilante who punished any kind of transgression, no matter how minor, with butchery and death. As the young Primarch's body count would continue to rise, with the mutilated corpses of known criminals being strung up and displayed in public for all to see, crime would, as a result, plummet exponentially. The citizens of Nostramo Quintus would abide by the law without exception, due to the terrifying possibility of the Night Haunter coming for them. Because of the young Primarch's actions, peace would come to the streets of Nostramo Quintus for the first time in many long years, a peace brought about and sustained through fear. During the course of the Horus Heresy, Konrad Curze would side with the traitorous warmaster Horus Lupercal, and would take part in the Istvan V dropsite massacre before he would eventually wage a campaign of terror throughout the realm of Ultramar. Following the aftermath of the heresy, Konrad Curze would allow himself to be murdered by the Kalidas assassin Meshen, who infiltrated the Primarch's palace of still-living flesh upon the world of Segualsa. Curze believed that by allowing himself to be assassinated, it would justify everything he had said or done and exonerate him of any perceived wrongdoing. Meshen would then behead the Primarch after he delivered his now famous last words.
"Your presence here does not surprise me, assassin. I have known of you ever since your craft entered the eastern fringes. Why did I not have you killed? Because your mission and the act you are about to commit proves the truth of all I have ever said or done. I merely punished those who had wronged, just as your false emperor now seeks to punish me. Death is nothing compared to vindication. Now, do your job, and be done with it."
Following the death of Night Haunter, the apothecary Talos Valkoran, against his Primarch's final orders, would pursue the assassin, determined to kill her to avenge his gene father. The other members of the Night Lord's Legion would also attempt to pursue the assassin, but not in the pursuit of vengeance, but instead to reacquire several Legion relics that, along with the Primarch's severed head, the assassin would take as proof of her kill. These included the Primarch's sword, his ring, and his crown of office. Because of Konrad Curze being decapitated, this would mean that the Primarch of the Night Lords could never return, right? Not necessarily. The Primarchs as a whole shared many traits with one another, with such qualities being more prominent in some, more so than others. Konrad Curze himself was known for his power of precognition, a trait that was also shown to a lesser degree within Sanguinius, the Primarch of the Blood Angels. Vulcan, the Primarch of the Salamanders, was also known for demonstrating perpetuality, effectively being able to regenerate from the most grievous of wounds, even death itself. This regeneration ability was also shown to a lesser degree within Fulgrim, the Primarch of the Emperor's Children, whose foot and ankle were melted off with an industrial blowtorch, only for it to regrow but a few minutes later, as detailed within the story, the reflection cracked. While there is an incredibly small chance that Curze could potentially regenerate from his decapitation, it seems extremely unlikely given that Ferrus Manus, the Primarch of the Iron Hands was unable to recover from such a wound. However, there is one interesting thing to take into account, and that is the crown that belonged to Konrad Curze, the Corona Nox. The Corona Nox was worn by the Primarch when he was murdered by M'Shen, and as a result, the Corona could very well be the key to his potential rebirth. The reasoning for this comes from the description of the Corona itself, as detailed within the following passage from the novel Lord of the Night, when the Night Lord's Talon Master, Josahal, finally recovers the stolen crown.
A black circlet of mercurial metal, polished and undecorated, burning with an eerie non-light. To either side of its tapered ring there rose tall horns, needle-straight and jagged-edged, like twin saber blades dipped in oil. But most stunning of all, beyond the simple elegance and curious captivation of the thing, set into the crown's front piece and suspended upon the wearer's forehead on a platinum mounting, stood a jewel. A perfect teardrop of ruby red. Its face was uncut by diamond facets or inelegant designs. Smooth and unblemished. It had about it the look of an organic creation, as if not cut from the earth, but grown, planted and fostered into glorious life by some secret crystal garden. And despite the dismal lighting of the gallery, despite the shadow cast by Sahal's colossal body, it burned. It burned with an inner light. It burned with a radiance that was unconfined by sight alone, that broke the boundaries of luminosity, that flooded out the visual spectrum and dazzled Sahal without even passing his eyes.
While Josahal informs the Psyker, Mita Ashin, that the gem within the Corona Center is a bloodstone, its description seems to indicate that this gem is in actuality a spirit stone. Spirit stones are gems that are worn by the Eldari of the Craft Worlds and Corsair fleets, and act as a form of soul trap, capturing the essence of an Eldari upon their death to prevent their soul from entering the warp, where it can be devoured by demonic entities. Once a soul is confined to a spirit stone, the gem will typically then begin to glow with a fiery red or orange colour. While initially it could be argued that the soul within the spirit stone could have belonged to an Eldari warrior that Konrad Curze killed to acquire the stone, we know that this is not the case. When Mita Ashin comes within close proximity to the Corona, which at the time was locked within the personal collection of Governor Zagrif of the world of Aquixus, she feels the presence of a Night Lord, initially mistaking the presence of the Corona for Josahal, the only Night Lord upon the world at that time. When Mita Ashin manages to lay her eyes upon the case containing the Corona Nox once more, she notes the following, which would seem to confirm the presence of the Night Haunter's soul within the Corona.
This was the item that had been stolen from the traitor Marine, and the ocean of sentience that burned from within was so akin to the Night Lord's own mind that it had fooled her. This close up she could detect the tiniest of differences, the ugly inconsistencies that should have told her long before. She had not sensed the presence of her foe. She had sensed his greatest possession, his dearest treasure, a mythical something that burned with an astral presence all of its own.
This then leads to a potential way for the Night Haunter to become reborn, by effectively switching souls with whoever dons the Corona. At first, this may seem a somewhat unlikely action to ever occur, but there is at least one documented case of a similar such act occurring. Within the novel Farseer, the Farseer of Craftworld Ulfway, known as Auric Stormcloud, managed to accomplish this very feat. Early on within the story, Auric bonded a spirit stone to the psychically sensitive rogue trader Janus Dark, under the pretense of the spirit stone being a measure of protection for the rogue trader, who was being sought out by the demon prince of Slaanesh, Shahar Garthan. Upon the world of Belial IV, Ulrich would battle Garthan wielding the Death Sword of Cain against the demon, but would ultimately be slain. His soul, however, would avoid being consumed by Garthan by seeking refuge within Janus Dark's Spirit Stone. Janus would battle against Garthan, and the demon prince would be defeated once Ulrich took full control over the rogue trader's body, switching souls with Dark before using the Death Sword of Cain to banish the demon. After the battle, Ulrich would note the following about his new form, which would imply that he intended to return the body to Janus Dark once they travelled to Ulfway.
Ulrich moved slowly. He felt different. This borrowed body was too clumsy. Its balance was all wrong. The senses were so dull, the reflexes so slow. Worse, it was already starting to affect his thinking. He felt stupider, less sharp by far than once he had. The strange chemicals in the glands were affecting his mood.
Because of this, it's theoretically possible for Konrad Curze, should he so desire, to take possession of one of his sons, effectively by switching souls in order to do so. Konrad Curze was a powerful psyker, demonstrating precognition and telekinesis with exceptional skill, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility. But another prospect arises in regards to the corona, and it comes from craftworld Eandon. Eandon was once the most populous of the Eldari craftworlds, but now it is almost entirely devoid of life, thanks to the aftermath of an attack by Hive Fleet Kraken. As a result of this, Eandon utilizes an exceptionally large number of wraiths, robotic constructs that are implanted with spirit stones to allow the dead to fight once more, by effectively piloting a cybernetic body. The seers of Eandon seemed desperate to acquire the Corona Nox for one reason or another. While it could be possible that they simply wished to recover a spirit stone to purge it of a foreign soul within, or possibly use the Corona to placate the entirety of the Night Lord's Legion, which had at that time gathered en masse in preparation for a full-scale assault of the craft world, there is a more drastic possibility. Could it be possible that Eandon recognized the strength of a Primarch's soul, and sought to implant it into a Wraith construct such as a Wraith Knight or Wraith Lord in order to harness such potential destructive power? While it seems extremely improbable, given how the Eldari view humanity as a whole, Eandon is a craft world that might be driven to desperation enough to try such an extreme plan in order to simply protect their people. It wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility, as the Eldari have been known to try and manipulate other races in order to bring about outcomes beneficial to the craft worlds. The Farseers of Craftworld Ulfway, for example, were infamous for their manipulation of events between a pair of rival orc war bosses. The Seers chose to influence the outcome of this rivalry so that one war boss would rise to power above the other, in order to prevent a future war from assaulting their craft world. This would ultimately result in the rise of the warlord Ghazghkull Magorok Thraka, and the Second War for the Imperial world of Armageddon. The enigmatic Harlequins have also been documented in attempting to influence the chief apothecary of the Emperor's Children Traitor Legion, Fabius Bile, into taking command of, unifying, and rebuilding the entire Legion, in an attempt to remove him as a threat altogether. But the Harlequins have so far been unsuccessful in this endeavour. Regardless of their intentions, the Eldari were unable to recover the Corona Nox, as it was last seen plummeting into the depths of the hive, with Josahal following close behind. Perhaps one day, Josahar may return to his legion, not as Talon Master, but as the new Night Haunter. What do you think? Leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.